Zhilei Zhang is set to return to the ring for the first time since his Knockout of the Year contender against Joe Joyce. Joseph Parker and Zhilei Zhang will face each other on the Anthony Joshua versus Francis main event, and pros reveal their pick. After the Parker fight, there are other options for Zhang. He was initially linked with a fight against Wilder before the Parker fight once Joshua versus Ngannou was confirmed. According to Michael Benson, Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang reportedly could return on the undercard of Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, which may in fact take place on Friday, March 8th. It's claimed Wilder and Zhang could fight each other or appear in separate fights. Earlier, it was confirmed by Chris Mannix that Wilder could fight Zhilei Zhang on the undercard of Joshua versus Ngannou on March 8th. He stated, "Few details on the planned Joshua Ngannou card in Saudi on what is expected to be another massive show in March. Told the working date is currently March 8th, a Friday." Zhilei Zhang, the Chinese heavyweight who scored back-to-back knockout wins over Joe Joyce last year, is expected to appear on the card. One fight that has been discussed, Zhang Deontay Wilder. Wilder could also appear on the card in another fight. Shelley Finkel Wilder, he was not ruling out the possibility of facing Zhang, but he'd also love to get his boxer a rematch with Parker. Finkel stated, "Look, we would love Parker, but that hasn't been discussed. But in either case, if Zhang was presented, that would be a big fight. If that was on the same card as the fight with Joshua and Ngannou, I think Deontay and Zhang would rival that. It would be a phenomenal show for the public again. I think the job that they did putting all the heavyweights together on that card was wonderful." Sean George, Zhilei's trainer, believes that Zhilei Zhang would win a Deontay Wilder fight by knockout. He stated, "I like Zhilei to be active, I like him to work, so if that's the case, I would like a Deontay Wilder fight. Let's make it happen. Fight fans want to see it. I respect Wilder as a fighter, and I respect him as a person. Me and Malik Scott, Wilder's trainer, go back a lot of years, to when we were 17, 18 years old. But it's a fun fight. I believe Zhilei would win that fight by knockout also. Skills pay the bills in that fight." Promoter Frank Warren, who works with Zhang, says he thinks this fight would be a great fight. He says he wouldn't have a problem making it.
That's a great fight. I wouldn't have a problem making that fight.
I mean, exactly. What do you think of that fight, or do you think that could potentially be next?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot to do, but you know, Zhilei's with us, and he's made a massive impact, and he at the moment he's the mandatory for the WBO version of the title. So, you know, he'll be looking to want to get his mandatory and get his shot at the title. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, he'll fight. And whether it be Deontay or somebody else, we'll see.
How likely do you think, how close are we for the WBO potentially calling that mandatory? You know, how long, WBO, so how long would we be willing to wait?
Well, at the moment, the fight is signed, as we all know, between Tyson and Usyk, and that's got priority over everything. So that's all too soon to be getting into. But sometime next year, these mandatories will be called, and the next one is the IBF, and then the one after that is the WBO.
Carl Froch has backed Deontay Wilder to travel to China and defeat Zhilei Zhang following the latter's win over Joe Joyce last weekend.
I think Deontay Wilder's brave enough and good enough to take that challenge and go in the ring thinking he's going to win. He's a detonating puncher with you know, when he lands that right hand on anybody's chin, he's going to be confident that he can knock out Zhang. So he'd probably take it, but I'm not so sure Usyk would really. I mean, Usyk would fancy it, but I don't know if he'd entertain it. Tyson Fury, maybe, maybe not. Anthony Joshua, I've already said, I don't think he'd take that fight. That's too dangerous. I don't think Eddie Hearn would risk Anthony Joshua in against Zhilei.
Zhang's co-manager, Terry Lane, who expressed his fighters' keen interest in facing on the undercard of the highly anticipated Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou bout against Wilder. Boxing journalist Michael Benson wrote on his X handle, "Zhilei Zhang does indeed want to fight Deontay Wilder on the Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou undercard on March 8th. His co-manager Terry Lane has stated, "It's been reported that Zhang and Wilder may both be on the card, potentially even fighting one another. Zhang wants to fight for a world title and is hoping either Tyson Fury or Alexander Usyk, but Zhang also named Joseph Parker as another potential opponent for his next fight. I want to come back during March, and that's the plan, but if you're asking me who I want the next opponent to be, realistically, then I say Joseph Parker, but does he dare to fight me? I'm open to everything, but I am focusing on the gym and being in the ring for my return. I would like to have my next flight to be in Saudi Arabia, but everything is being worked on, and is in the process. Later on, in a press conference to officially announce that Zhang will face Joseph Parker on the card, with more fights to feature. Coppingers also reacted on X. Joseph Parker will fight Zhilei Zhang in the March 8 co-feature to Anthony Joshua Francis Ngannou in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, sources tell ESPN. Parker coming off a dominant win over Deontay Wilder. Zhang scored back-to-back stoppage wins over Joe Joyce last year. Terrific co-main. Parker promoter David Higgins believes Parker has silenced the critics following that upset win over the hard-punching Wilder. He stated, "For me, it was the best performance of Joseph's career. The reason I say that is because those massive global pay-per-view fights have a special pressure about them. The eyes of the world are upon you and against his opponent, a murderous puncher, one of the most feared in history. You can't really describe what that pressure is like until you've been in that situation. A couple of times he came up short in his career, but this time he maintained a cool head, was patient, showed intent, stuck to the fight plan, withstood the pressure. He didn't just win, but dominated Wilder." Chinese heavyweight boxer Zhilei Zhang is training very hard for a big... Joseph Parker heading in a gym for the biggest in March. In an interview with Fight Hype, Big Bang Zhang admitted his confusion at Wilder's reluctance to plant his feet during the battle, when he was clearly reliant on landing a signature one-punch knockout. "My prediction before the fight, to be honest with you, was a distance win for Joseph Parker." As we can see, Parker's activity in the ring, where has stayed busy over the last couple of months and couple of years, was definitely going to help him. He had no ring rust. He knew what he was doing. When you look at Wilder, he hasn't fought for 14 months, and throughout the whole fight, he was just looking for the big right hand, and he barely found the opportunity to throw that. It doesn't make a lot of sense that he was moving around like that. If you want to land a solid shot, why are you moving around the ring like that? If you count all of the punches, Wilder probably threw less than 100 punches throughout the whole fight. He was being reactive the whole time instead of being proactive. Parker did not want to rest on his laurels. He called for showdowns with any of the division's top players, including Zhang and Hrgovic. It was Zhang who answered the call for a fight that will leave the winner in prime position to land a massive fight in the suddenly red-hot heavyweight division. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more exciting updates.